Hello everyone, here's a super easy way to draw a picture if you don't want to just draw the picture. So here I'm using an image of a flower that was photocopied, and here's some pencils that I'm going to use to trace this photo. So here's the photo, and I'm putting tracing paper over the picture. So then I'll tape it down, and using a HB or 2HB, you want a thick leaded pencil because it'll just come out better on your paper, as you will see later on in this video. So here I am just taping down the tracing paper. You got to make sure you put the tracing paper as best as you can with all the creases, and so you can actually see the picture behind the tracing paper. And here I am gonna outline the basics of the flower. So don't worry about the background, because the background is just gonna be green anyway. So here I am just gonna trace out the flower and just find lines and just start putting down what you see, what you think is there. You can also look at your original picture. That's what I'm doing off on the side. I don't have the computer image so you can see it, but here I'll just give you a quick viewing of it, and I'll speed up the clip here. Okay, here we go. We're going to take some scrap paper, and we're not going to use this actual paper for the watercolor. This is just for transferring the image from tracing paper. So we're going to turn this upside down, and it will be backwards. So we're going to take our 2B or HB pencil, and we're going to kind of do wiggly hard lines over those lines that you see right there. So see how you just scratch into it, covering the line, and just go over the lines with just like a pencil scratching technique. Make sure you get all the lines that you want to use. So here we're just gonna cover up a few of these lines, and I'll speed up the clip so it's not a long drawn out, because it will take a while. And if you do a simpler picture, it will take a couple of seconds. This one probably would take about 2 or 3 minutes, if not longer. So I will speed up the clip here. Okay, now that you see the all the lines have been scratched in and filled in with this back and forth scratch, we're taking the paper off of the scrap paper, or the tracing paper off the scrap paper. Okay, now we're going to take the image and our tracing paper, and we're going to put it onto a watercolor paper, the paper that we're actually do the watercolor onto. And we're going to take our number 2 pencil or 2H pencil and trace over those lines that we originally traced out. So here I am just taping it off, getting it so it's nice and tight. We don't have any loose, because you don't want to poke a hole through the tracing paper and then it just opens up a whole different can of worms. So you want to just tape down as tight as you can the tracing paper onto your paper. Now I'm using an H pencil, and I'm just going to trace the lines. So here I am just going to go up and over, and I'm making these funky leaves that are with the pink poppy flower. So as you can see, they look like fingers. So just trace over the lines so you can see a little bit of the bubbling up that tracing paper does, and hopefully I don't rip a hole in it. If I have a very sharp pencil, it'll tear right through the tracing paper. So you want to kind of put some pressure down, but don't really grind it in there. So here we'll just trace over. Sometimes you might miss a line, sometimes you might draw over it 2 or 3 times. It doesn't matter. You're just tracing your original image onto your watercolor paper. You can do this with anything. You can do it on a canvas, you can do it on wood, whatever you want to do art on. It's just an easier way without freehand drawing or using a projector or this new item they have online now for your cell phone called the Lucy. I have never used Lucy. I've just done this way. And I have used projectors on a larger canvas. So here I'm just gonna, as I'm drawing out the lines here, I'm gonna speed up the clip, and here we go. Alright, here we go. We got all the lines filled in, and now we're going to take the tape off. Now the way I taped it on here, it just looks like it's going to tear everything apart. So even if you tear the corners of the tracing paper, as long as you don't have any lines that are all the way over near the edge of the paper or tracing paper, you shouldn't have a problem tearing off the tape. So here, after I tear off the tape, remove tracing paper, and voila, there's your image onto the watercolor. So here I'm going to tape down the watercolor paper, and the next step is we're going to take an ink pen. You can use any kind of black pen that's watercolor waterproof. You don't want to use a ballpoint pen, so here I'm just using a Micron pen. I'm not sure of the size, but you can use any size you want, whatever thickness of lines. So here I'm just tracing over those lines that I traced with my tracing paper, and it's kind of like a carbon copy of the picture onto the watercolor. Now you can take your lines and not go exactly that you drew. So as you can see right here, there's a couple of lines that I've missed. So you can just fill them in, make up your own little drawing as you go. So we're just gonna now fill this all in with ink. So as you can just make your own lines, whatever kind of picture you're drawing. So this is not the one line technique that I usually do. This is going to be several steps in between with the pen. So I'll speed up this clip and have fun watching. Now, after you've drawn all your lines with the ink, you'll want to erase the pencil lines that are underneath. So here I am using an eraser. You can use any kind of eraser, pink eraser, this white eraser, except this thing leaves like a film all over and very messy. So I would suggest, and don't use you can use the red tip pencil eraser. Usually it smudges and it's a little bit more messier than this. So I may have to go out and buy a new eraser because this thing is, as you can see specks all over. So you get the idea. It's just going to be smudging. Now I'm going to be drawing a line here. I'm just doing a background, make it kind of artsy-ish. So here I'm just drawing a little box around the flower and leaves. So just gonna do some kind of a interesting box, and then gonna fill that box in. The lines are gonna be filled in with ink, just the regular pen lines. Alright, here we go. The final step, the watercolor. So here I'm just taking a light, lots of water with a kind of like a rose color paint watercolor, and we're just going to lightly go over the flower with a light, or lots of water, adding lots of water to it. You don't want to use white because it makes it opaque, so just use a lot of water would be lighter color, no water would be darker color. So here I'm just going to fill in the entire flower with the pink, very light color. We're just going to go all around the flower, and that bump looking thing in the middle is a part of the flower, but it's not going to be pink. As you can see in the beginning of the picture, it had yellow. So I'll let this, you can relax and watch the slow process of the pink base of the flower. Here we go with the next step of the flower, of adding a little bit less water to make the pink a little darker for shading. So here I'm just gonna make it a little bit, it's like the next step up. So we're using a little bit brighter pink. So here I'm just doing the outside of petal to get a little bit darker and getting in there with the darker pink. And as you'll watch, it'll just keep getting darker and darker. So enjoy. So you'll see in this process of the painting, I'm putting a little bit more detail into the flower. As you can see, that outside petal, the one I'm hitting right now, I'm putting a little bit more of a petal look into it. You can see the lines. So as I'm just putting a little bit more detail into the flower, now I could spend a lot of time, but this is like just a beginner video. So as you can see, just put a couple little lighter, darker stripes, texture-ish. So just pull the ink or the watercolor down, and you will see a little bit of an effect coming into play. So, and if you're wondering what kind of brush I'm using, it's called a water pen. So that blue tube is full of water, and as I'm painting, I'm squeezing water with a little bit of a flow into the brush, and the water will come out of the brush. It's actually kind of interesting. It's an easier way to easier cleanup, easier to paint with. You just don't have water dishes and bottles and spray bottles all laying around. And I'm doing wet on dry. So now I have other brushes I can use. I'm just going with this EasyPainting brush. So I'll just let this clip go and enjoy watching this video. So here we go into the middle part where it's the yellow part. Now I'm putting in a light color of the yellow with lots of water as a base. And then we're going to slowly fill in with the more brighter yellow. Now I didn't go into full detail with each little tiny, I don't even know what you would want to call it, like a tubes or something like that flower tubes, the little thing in the middle of a flower. I don't know what it's called. Leave it in the comments below if you know what the middle of a flower is called. Those little tubes things. So anyway, filling in that, and then we'll move on to the leaves down below, and keep on enjoying. Thanks for watching too. And if you find these videos fun and exciting, or just want to learn something, or just want to paint, or just want to just sit back and during your lunchtime and just watch a video of painting, please subscribe. Thanks again, and enjoy this video. Just a quick update. Here we go with the green leaves, and filling it in with a light green, and then we'll just build it up from there. And you'll see later on into the video, these leaves have a red tip on them, so I will just let the video go and enjoy watching it. And so you'll see the process of just filling in the green leaves, and then the kind of uglyish green background that's behind the flowers. I was going for a forest green, but it came out to look like a muddy green. But you get the idea. So anyway, I'll let you go. Enjoy watching, and have a great day.